Title. I was looking for a title, and I think I found the title, and that's the title. Okay. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? It's Thursday, and I'm posting a video. I'm being inundated with updates on my phone. It's really slowed me down. What do we call this? You think Camo? Thank you. I'm trying to figure out a title for this video, for the video I'm about to post. Add to playlist. What is the playlist? FAQ, Q&A. No, I don't think it needs a playlist. Well, maybe we'll add it later. Yeah, okay. Q suggesting not calling it certain things. Yes. Well, guess what? It is that time where we answer your traffic and police questions. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I go on TikTok and I answer your traffic and police questions, and I have camouflage epaulets. I'm just about to post a video on that very topic. What do you think? Toronto Police, military, veteran, soldier, police, TikTok, Army, Navy, Air Force, thank you, support, camouflage, camo? What else can we put? What other kind of tags? Any suggestions for good tags? All right, no. Okay, I think that's everything. Maybe a cops of TikTok. That's what we'll do. Cops of TikTok. Okay, done. I'm going to send it up. It's posting. Thank you for enduring. Let me turn that volume down. Oh, it went up. That was fast. Okay, video's posted. So don't forget to check that out. Hey, if you're new to the room, if you've never seen my face before, I find that hard to believe because I do this a lot. But if you're new to our channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I answer your traffic questions, your police questions. Most of our information is specific to Ontario when it comes to traffic laws. It's different in every province, and of course in the States it's different as well. The basic rules of the road are the same, but things do change from time to time. If you've got questions, throw them in the Q&A, and we will get to them. I will see the Q&A questions. I'm generally not in the chat, but we do have an army of amazing moderators who help keep it all classy here. If you're spamming, they'll ask you to leave, or they'll mute you so you can't spam no more. I'm rocking both the epaulets, which I talk about in the video I just posted, but essentially they are in support of military veterans and deployed soldiers overseas in operations, and money raised from the sale of these two officers. So it's an in-house fundraising project. Goes to support veterans causes in the city of Toronto. We've raised over $20,000 so far, and that's the Toronto Veterans Association that's been involved with that. Awesome work that they're doing, and I'm proud to be wearing these epaulets. Let's see here. What do we got here? We got a good morning from Will. He's one of our moderators, and one of the very first folks to get really behind our show. So thank you, Will. Appreciate the continued support and the forever good mornings. And from Neon, good blessed Thursday morning, everyone. Thanks to Neon, another one of our moderators who happens to be a mechanic and a very learned gentleman when it comes to things with gears and tires and such. So we look forward to getting him on the show so you can actually ask him some mechanic questions, because those are good to know, right? It's one thing to get at a traffic cop, but then you're going to get a mechanic on TikTok. I tell you, it's going to be awesome. But you can ask him questions. He's always being very helpful in the chat. So if you've got questions, throw them out there, and he might be able to give you an answer. What can I get away with on my G2 test? Driving properly would be the way to get away with. I don't know. You can't get away with anything. You have to follow the rules. But I actually don't know what will fail you. I'm not a driving instructor. I've never been a driving instructor, and or a tester for that matter, because driving instructors and testers are not the same thing. But I don't have a good answer for you. I'm sorry. A question from Murray Lake wants to know, can I speed? No, you're not allowed to go above the posted speed limit. There's never a reason, unless you're a police officer or a fire person or ambulance person, paramedic. They can go over the speed limit because they're legally allowed to in certain circumstances. However, you can't. Did you remember to change your blinker fluid? Thank you for bringing that up. It is one of the most important things that we promote on this show is regular blinker fluid maintenance, along with winter and summer air for your tires. Very important. So thank you for bringing that up. It's amazing how many people don't maintain their blinker fluid, and they just the blinkers don't work. It also helps to use that little thing attached to the steering tree. Is it called the steering tree? The steering column. I'm thinking 3 in the tree. It is a tree. Okay. It's 0 degrees outside? For real? Oh, I guess it's time to change those, not only the winter air but to actually put your, well, there's a couple things. So A, when it gets colder, the pressure inside. Oh, 1 second. We got a hello from News Talk.
Agrees with taking Adirond.
Hello there.
This might be shocked to soon learn what caused them to be canceled.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Okay, we got you. If you can send us a text when you're on the private chat when you're ready to go, and we'll keep you in the background.
10-4.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
So that is not Nick. That is someone other than Nick who just popped in from News Talk 1010. I'm glad they did because it reminded me that we got to talk about that. We're going to be going live with News Talk 1010 at about 9:30. So they're going to give us a little text message and let us know when to flip the switch and bring them back on. And we'll be live on the air in Toronto, and they'll be live on TikTok. By the way, I'm going to say it, Q, just for you. We're going to cross the streams. That's what we're going to do. And for anyone watching, as Q takes the deep breath and will now recover off screen. By the way, we're not only on TikTok, we're simulcasting on LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you're there and you want to say hello, you can also interact with just the same way that you do it on TikTok. Except on that platform, you can also see Q. And occasionally laugh at me. She laughs at me. You can do what you want. But what I was getting at is I watched Ghostbusters 1 and 2 with my kids, and that's where the crossing the stream reference is, even though it may have other meanings elsewhere. Okay, enough about blinker fluid. Let's go to, do I have to wear a mask on a traffic stop? I don't think that you're obligated to. We will wear a mask on a traffic stop. But I don't think you're obligated. It's nice to wear a mask on a traffic stop because it's keeping everybody safe. But yeah, we'll wear a mask. Okay. I don't know what this. Can I talk to the? I'm not sure what you're asking for here. Can you talk to EDL and hot shotter drivers? Somebody tell me what the acronym is because I don't know. When can kids stop using a booster seat? So to sit in a seatbelt, a car seat without a seatbelt, with a seatbelt without a booster or a car seat of any kind, 3 things for legal requirements have to be met. You are either 8 years old or 80 pounds or 4'9". It's one of those 3. Beyond that, we suggest they stay in the back seat until 14 years old. So 14 years old is for our suggestion, not legal requirement, but our suggestion is when they graduate to the front seat. But out of the booster seat, 8, 80, or 4'9", one of the 3. Now, that's not necessarily the best time to do it. It's just when you won't get a ticket for it. For safety, there's other factors to take into consideration. So you could be 8 years old, but very small and short, and that could mean we suggest staying in that booster seat as long as possible for safety. Is it speeding if you are coming downhill? It is speeding if you are speeding. So if you're going downhill and have no engine, regardless of if you're traveling, if your vehicle is moving beyond the speed limit, you are speeding, and downhill is not an excuse. So you're responsible for using your brakes to control your speed. Socials, yes. VoiceoverCop is my personal channel on TikTok and social media like Instagram and Twitter. So if you are so inclined, you can follow me there. Content there is a little different. It's not the same as here because why would I do the same thing on both channels? There we're going to be doing some gear review because we're getting some new gear. So I look forward to doing the unboxing and all this stuff. Oh, and Twitch is also VoiceoverCop. So cool. And I'm also on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm can be found at VoiceoverCop there too. Thanks for the heads up, Angela Topping coming in from YouTube saying, I need to drink water. I often forget. Okay. Let's see here. What is the law for eating while driving? So here's the deal. It's not considered distracted driving because that's very specific to handheld communication devices, handheld entertainment devices, and screens visible to driver. So it's not distracted. But can it be a charge? You could be charged for careless. If you're doing things other than driving, you're not doing that. You've got the, undue care and control. If you're not focused on driving and it causes issues, you could be charged for careless driving. Is it necessarily going to happen? No. The deal is that if you're going to take a bite of a sandwich, something that you can eat easily, and it's not interfering with your driving, I don't think you're going to have a problem. You can have a sip of coffee, sip of water, juice, just not spicy juice. And it's another TikToker. But it can't distract from your responsibilities. That has to be driving. But it's not illegal in particular unless it's causing problems. Okay. I have a G test tomorrow morning. Tips. It's great. Good luck. Happy that you got a test. Good luck to you. But in terms of tips, get good sleep. Sleep is huge. Relax. Take it slow. Don't do anything that obviously follow the rules of the road. And you might want to verbalize what you're doing. Hey, we're approaching a turn. I'm going to look left. I'm going to look right. I'm going to check my mirrors. I'm going to reduce my speed because I see I'm going to be just whatever you're doing. If you're thinking it, other than swearing, I would say it because it helps your tester know what you're thinking and know what you're doing. So I think it's a great idea to do that. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything else I can really suggest other than good luck and get that good sleep. I don't know if this is part of another question. It says, "What if I'm getting sued for doing what is right?" I don't know what you're talking about, but you know what? If you're getting sued for doing what's right, I guess you're going to have to argue that you were doing what's right in court. But I don't know what you're talking about because there's not enough info there. How many lights can you have on at a time on a car? How many lights can you have at a time on a car? So it depends on what lights we're talking about. Simply marker lights or, accent lights are different than projector lights forward. According to the HTA, you can have no more than 4 lights creating more than 300 candela each facing forward. So that usually references or covers driving lights and headlamps. So those are projector bulbs, all stronger than 300 candela. Those would be the maximum. You put more, you could be charged. What are your thoughts on speed traps? My thoughts on them are simple. They are designed, and the reason we go out and do speed enforcement is to change driver behavior. So when we catch a speeder, we give them a ticket. That ticket should sting, should make you feel pretty nasty about being caught, and maybe it'll slow you down. And when it slows you down, you might save a life because the slower you go, the less serious the injuries are when they turn into collisions. Now, people say, well, I've been speeding my whole life. I haven't gotten into a crash. You actually significantly increase your chance of collision by going above the speed limit. And the further to that, we're reducing speed limits across the city of Toronto. We have zones that are 30 kilometers an hour now because in the event of a collision, especially with a pedestrian, that reduces the chance of fatality. So I think speeding traps are good. I think people shouldn't speed. And if you do speed, you speed knowing that you could get caught. And when you get caught, you shouldn't cry about it because you made the choice to speed. Question from Sarah, is it 17 over the speed limit when you get pulled over? You can get pulled over for any speed over the speed limit. 15 is the number of the speed limit, the speed in which you can get a ticket that doesn't contain points. So 16 over is when you see demerit points. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't affect your driver's license. It certainly does. You can still be charged at 1 kilometer and over, technically, but generally speaking, I don't think you'd be charged for 1 over. You might start seeing them, depending on the speed limit in the area, 5 to 10 kilometers over when you may find yourself being pulled over. But that's not a suggestion that you should speed to 5 or 10 over. It's not safe. You could be pulled over at any speed over the posted limit. Why don't they put a camera on every intersection? I don't know. Probably money. I assume it's expensive. They don't. You can't buy a traffic camera at a dollar store. Okay. What about people driving slower than the speed limit? Well, a speed limit is the limit, not the minimum. So that's perfectly legal. Now, if you're doing 40 kilometers in a 100, that's dangerous. And you could be charged for unnecessary slow driving. Now, unnecessary means that there might be a reason to do that speed. A defective car is not one of them. You should not be on the highway if you can't maintain a healthy speed limit or a healthy speed. But if you're doing 80 and 100, that's not against the law. And no one should be charged for doing that. Save and except for people who may be doing that in the passing lane. You should not be doing 80 in a passing lane. But Savannah, thanks for asking. Have you ever followed a car for jokes? No. I got better things to do than to follow cars aimlessly to simply, see what would happen. No. If I'm following a car, it's because I'm investigating them, and then I either have a traffic stop or I determine that I'm not going to stop them. But it's not for jokes. The city would make a lot of money. I don't know if this is in relation to cameras in intersections. Possibly. Oh, you're talking about traffic cameras as opposed to just cameras. So speed measurement or red light cameras. I don't know. Speed cameras, I think, are regulated to school zones right now, and they're looking to change that and have more of them. So you may see an increase in those. And certainly it would be interesting to I'm not concerned about making money for this. They do what they do, but I am interested in these saving lives. Again, if you knew that there was a traffic camera or speed camera at every intersection, you'd probably go a lot slower. So yeah, your suggestion is a good one. Can I buy a car and drive? Can I buy and drive a car with a G1? You can buy a car without a license. Operating that requires you to have a license, and as a G1, you cannot drive alone. So good luck getting insurance, for one, and two, you must have a supervising driver that is qualified. That means they have to have a G with at least 4 years experience. That experience could be with, from when they started a G2. So if they started driving, their timer for that 4 years starts when they got their G2. So if they have 2 years as a G2, 2 years as a G, they can supervise you, assuming they didn't have that time broken with a suspension. How is the G test? I go next week. I have not done a G test in 30 plus years, so I couldn't tell you what it is today. But if you haven't had professional training, I mean, you didn't even do it. What are you talking about? A G test? I did a G test. 365 is the learner's permit. I'm being poked. But the current G test is probably different than what I did 30 plus years ago. But good luck. And as I was suggesting to the other TikToker who asked about tips, get some good sleep. You got this. If you're going for your G, you've been driving for long enough that you've got some good experience under your belt. And just stay calm as best you can, and verbalize what you're doing. And obviously, don't speed. Don't break the law. That would be bad.
Someone in chat can't read responses. Can you answer this question?
I can certainly try.
Is blasting music while driving dangerous or illegal?
Blasting music. Okay. It is illegal. Blasting music I'm going to assume that is loud when you say blasting, and loud music or loud exhausts, or even using your horn unnecessarily could fall under the category of unnecessary noise. Unnecessary noise is a offense under the Highway Traffic Act, and you can be charged. What is the appropriate level? It's going to be the officer who is observing you and listening to your vehicle that will determine if that's time for a ticket or not. Hot sauce, yes. I like hot sauce. Ooh, I'm going for hot food for lunch today. I'm very excited. I'm going to have some what I say it was Reaper. I went to Dave's Chicken a couple weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. I'm going back. Last time I had Reaper sauce on one of the pieces of chicken because I was experimenting. I didn't want to completely make it unenjoyable if it was too hot. It really wasn't that hot, so I'm going back to do more. This time I'm going all Reaper. Last time it was extra hot and Reaper. Anyway, but yes, hot sauce definitely. How long do you have to drive with a parent? Well, it doesn't have to be a parent, but it has to be a qualified G, and that person has to be until you get your G2. That's how long. Yeah, you have to have your G2 for 12 months unless you take a qualified driving program, at which point you can go at 8 months to get your G2. And apparently we're getting a lot of spam today. That's no bueno. If you are spamming, you will be muted or ejected from the live. Spamming is when you repeatedly ask a question or are disruptive in the chat. We don't want to be, kicking people out, but we want to keep it classy. And we have volunteers, not police officers, who are currently doing that. And Ryan Pinn coming in by YouTube. Good morning. Big Jeff Fresh from YouTube as well. Carolina Reaper. Dang, man. Yeah, that's what it is. I like it hot. I like it hot. Okay. What is this? Can you drive with a left walking boot cast on? Well, being that you are, interesting. We're getting some lag on TikTok apparently. So apologies if we're seeing any connection. According to the phone, I'm transmitting on. It says we're good, but apparently we're having some issues. So left foot walking boot cast on. I have no issue with someone using a left boot because you're not using your left foot to drive. It would be an issue, I think, if you were on a right boot, and I think the doctor would tell you that. Can you go? That's a great question. Can you go above the speed limit in the passing lane? No. You cannot exceed the speed limit ever, at any time, for any reason, unless you're a police officer in a police car, a fire engine operator on their way to an emergency, an ambulance going to an emergency or transporting somebody. There's very specific people who can do that, and civilians can't. So, sorry to burst your bubble. There's never an opportunity to exceed the speed limit. So you should not be passing someone who is going the speed limit, because why would you be passing them? Just make a big long line behind the person doing 100. I know nobody likes that answer, but that is the answer that is appropriate. Let's see here. Just to reset the room, 334 people in the live right now. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on TikTok, well, every day that I'm in the office. I wasn't here yesterday. We didn't go live yesterday. I really missed it. But we do answer your traffic and police questions. Now, I am in Toronto, Canada. The questions in regards to traffic problems, traffic laws, are specific to the Ontario Highway Traffic Act. But by all means, ask your question. We got people coming in from Germany, from Ireland. This is an international program. And we also answer your questions about police in general. So if you got questions, feel free to ask. I answer questions that show up in the Q&A. We have some magical moderators who very often give you the answer in the chat. Now, they're not police officers, but they've been doing this a long time and helping me out, and they know the answers as though I'm saying it. If you don't believe it, you can always escalate it. Put it in the Q&A, and I will see it. If you don't get us in the hour that we will be on for, feel free to put it in the Q&A on our channel, or make a question in any one of our videos, and we'll respond there. What else can I tell you? At around 9:35 this morning, we're going to be on News Talk 1010, which is a local radio station in Toronto. We will be joined by Jerry Agar, and we will be joining him. So our channel will be transmitted in Toronto, and he will be on the air here on TikTok. Is it the air? It's still the air. It's the net. It's not the air, I guess, but whatever. Okay. Do you have to book a G1 test now to COVID? I'm not aware of you having to book it in advance. I think you can walk in and do that. But by all means, if you want to save yourself some difficulty, call ahead. They will give you the details. But I went in and just renewed my driver's license not too long ago, and it was no big deal. So I don't think that there's an issue. But you know what? Better to be safe than sorry. Do you think that driving tests will be hard to book in 2022? I imagine that we're going to have a backlog for some time. And how hard is it? I have people who tell me they get it right away. I have other people telling me it's difficult. I have people who have driven 7 hours to get a test. It's about commitment. Other people have said, I woke up at 5 in the morning, I tried every 10 minutes, and I got it. And they won the prize. They got their test, and they're done. So it depends on how bad you want it. And I know, again, that's not an answer people like to hear. There is some work to be done. It's a lot of people. It's first come, first serve. They release new dates. Test dates become available, and they disappear nearly instantly. Okay. What is this? Are playground time zones the same across Canada? I haven't the foggiest. Yeah, I don't know what it would be outside of Ontario. Truthfully, I don't even know what it is in Toronto. I imagine it's for trespass to property of whether or not it's posted signs. So it'll be different in every area, I imagine. May I tap 1 or 2 buttons on my cell phone while driving? So basically, you can tap to answer, and you can tap to hang up, assuming it's mounted. You can't hold the phone. And that's about it. Oh, Ryan. Ryan, we mentioned it briefly. Ryan wants to know about the camouflage epaulets that I'm wearing, and I did do a video that just posted this morning, which goes into detail. But essentially, they were designed in a collaboration with the Canadian Armed Forces, and they're just now I've memorized my spiel about them, but it is to symbolize a partnership and support of military veterans and active duty Canadian Armed Forces who are deployed overseas. So it's a fundraising effort. We bought these out of our own pocket, and we were given permission by the chief to wear them for the month of November to show support. And the money raised is being used to fund veterans causes in the city of Toronto. So it's very cool. Very excited to be and proud to be wearing them. Okay, let's see here. What does 30 kilometer an hour limit begins mean? It means the area you're about to enter has a speed limit starting at that sign, and everywhere past that sign until it says otherwise is 30 kilometers an hour. That's the speed limit. Yeah. That's Pikachu asking that. Now I will forever think everything you say sounds like Pikachu, 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 because I've been watching Pikachu with the kids. Not Pikachu, Pokemon. Yeah, okay. Can I reschedule my G-test without losing mine? So if you reschedule it, by virtue of rescheduling it, you lose yours once you pick a new one, is my understanding. I don't think you can have multiples booked, but you need to check with them. Oh, well, thank you for your service. I did not know you were a member of the armed forces, Ryan. That's cool. Ryan is in Nova Scotia and a driving instructor, and now I also know he's a member of the Canadian Armed Forces. Thank you for your service. Advice for someone becoming a cop. Well, hang on one second.
Ability to
Just checking in to see if they were. What didn't show up on public chat? Oh. I don't know who we're talking about. I missed that. Okay. So advice for becoming a police officer. So the best advice is get a good education. Doesn't matter what the education is, but be good at it. Work at it, continue. I say it doesn't matter. Obviously, there are certain things that blend better with policing than others, but you don't have to take policing specific things. You could learn to be an accountant. That's my favorite go-to. Be an accountant, and then you can get involved with forensic things. You can make us better by bringing your skills and abilities to us. But at the end of the day, if you want to get more information on what the requirements are, go and an actual accountant. Yes, you can you can go to our website. It's tps.ca/careers. All the information as to what the requirements are. But I will tell you this: volunteerism is huge. Being committed, being involved with the community that you want to represent, that you want to service and police and support, that, but doing it as a volunteer, that really shows you a lot. It shows us a lot about you. Are Canadian police trained in a military model? I don't know what that. I don't know how to answer that. Are we paramilitary? That was what we were once referred to as, but I wouldn't say we're military trained. No. I don't know what the military model is, so I can't confirm or deny. Can I use my Apple Watch to call while driving? Well, you can if you're saying that HEY Siri as a prompt where you're not touching it, but you can't actively use your watch. People have been charged for using their watch under the handheld communication under the distracted driving laws. Can you catch porch pirates via doorbell cameras? It's certainly evidence that can be provided to police, so it helps. Absolutely. Any kind of evidence is good to share with us. Okay. How long have you been a police officer? I've been a member of the Toronto Police Service since 2000, so over 20 years. I've not been a police officer for that entire time. I started as an auxiliary officer. I was soon after I became a court officer, which was a special constable, and I became a police officer, at least a cadet. I joined it. I patched over from courts in 2012. Let's see here. What is the process if you get into an accident? Well, we don't say accident, we say collision, because accidents don't happen. It suggests it just happened, and collisions are preventable. So that out of the way depends on the situation. If it's minor and the cars are drivable, then you could exchange information, get off the road, and go to a collision reporting center on your own time. If they're not drivable, but nobody is injured to the point of being transported to hospital by ambulance, then you can go to a collision reporting center and be towed there. Something interesting to know is that tow trucks in the city of Toronto that drop to our collision reporting centers get paid by the collision reporting center, not you. So you don't have to worry about that. Additionally, if there are folks who are injured and transported by ambulance, or if there's issues with the paperwork, people don't have a license, can't provide proof of insurance, ownership and such, if that happens, police will attend and at least get certain pieces of information going, so then you can forward along and get either be referred to a collision reporting center, or the collision will be taken care of and reported at scene. Especially if someone's transported by ambulance, it'll be taken care of at scene. What is the hardest part of the fitness test? I don't remember. Well, for me, it was the shuttle run. I'm 6'5" and 300 pounds. I did not like that shuttle run, but that's the hardest part for me. I was with people that were like gazelles. They ran forever without issue, and their hardest part was the push-pull tests, because you're controlling a lot of weight. So it depends. It really depends. Okay, but you can train through anything. It's all technique. So obviously I did pass all these tests. It's just they were the hardest thing to prepare for. I just want to check in because I haven't heard from News Talk 1010. I'm not hearing from News Talk 1010. Hello? Let's just check in on them. Okay. We'll keep going.
Hi, Sean. Good morning. Sorry about that.
That's
it's
okay.
Nick. Nick
It's
is
Nick.
back.
How you doing, Nick?
Good. Gord is training with us today. We're really excited. He's a professional who's been doing this a long, long time. So we're happy to have him literally on board.
Awesome.
So
Well,
we're in commercials now, which we'll send you down the line in just a moment. We're 3 minutes away.
3 minutes away. We're going to put you in the background. Just send us a text when you're ready to go.
10-4, thank you.
Thank you. That was Nick from News Talk 1010. He's the magic man behind the board making all those connections happen. And we'll be joining them live shortly, and they'll be joining us live shortly. And there you go. We're live all around. Let's see here. Do I have to call the cops at any collision? So just as I mentioned, you might want to get some advice. So you're required to report a collision to police if the total damage is over $2,000. Under $2,000, you don't legally have to. So if it's a fender bender, minor, and I mean minor, because a scratch on a Mercedes could be $5,000. So if you're over $2,000, it's very easy to do, and it's the total damage between all vehicles involved. All. So everyone gets a scratch for, I don't know I've never been to a collision where the damage is $100. Just saying. So yeah, you could call and get direction. You can try and exchange information on your own. Maybe somebody doesn't want to cooperate, and there is a reason to call cops. So yeah, you feel free to call. But in terms of whether or not they'll attend, they may refer you to the closest collision reporting center. With an M1, can I ride my dad's bike? An M1 has conditions, but yes, you could ride any motorcycle with an M1 as long as you have no passengers. You don't go in on any, highways that have a speed limit over 80, and you can't ride outside of the half an hour before sunup and half an hour after sundown. But, and Q, thank you for making that suggestion. Just because you can doesn't mean it's a good idea. If you're a new rider with no experience, then riding your dad's bike, if it's a powerful bike, if it's a race bike, might be putting yourself in a situation where you're, riding beyond your ability. I started with a Honda Hawk 400 twin, and I very quickly outgrew that. But it was a great starter. Oh, News Talk, 1 minute. You said 100 minute. I'm like, it's a long time. But 1 minute. We're going to pull News Talk 10 in 60 seconds. All right, we're going to pull News Talk in now, and we'll come back to your questions in a second, and we'll do them on air.
Makes so good.
Now that the school year is underway, do you know how your child is doing in math? At Mathnasium,
Okay.
each student is provided with a
1 minute,
customized
60
learning
seconds.
plan
It sounds like a long time, but it's not a long
individual
time.
assessment. They'll get the live face-to-face instruction
Okay.
they need, either in center or online.
There's some good questions here, and we're going to pull some of these questions into the on-the-air response. So, and oddly enough, some good stuff here. Okay. Bear with us. We got probably about 30 seconds to go and we'll be on the air. And once we're finished that segment, we'll come right back and continue like normal. Oh my goodness.
This is the Jerry Agar Show.
It is the Jerry Agar Show.
Radio Talk Network.
Good to have you along. And once again, we join the TikTok traffic cop, Sean Shapiro, traffic safety programs, traffic operations. He's on TikTok every day at Traffic Services and joins up with us every week or so, or a couple of weeks. And we take up traffic questions, including yours at 416-872-1010 or 877-518-5151. Sean Shapiro, good morning.
How you doing, Jerry?
Doing well. Let's start with this. Why do e-bikes that look like sport bikes and keep up with traffic not need insurance?
Well, you've said two things and they don't correlate. So e-bikes can only do 32 kilometers an hour, or they're not e-bikes anymore. So effectively, e-bikes without some legislation are motor vehicles, and only when they conform to the rules of the legislation are they considered e-bikes. So if they have a motor more than 500 watts in power, they're no longer considered e-bikes, and if they go beyond 32 kilometers an hour, what the limiters would keep them at, they're no longer e-bikes, which means they're motor vehicles again. And they do require license, ownership, insurance, plates, and so on. And they could be seeing fines for no insurance of $5,000 to $25,000. So they're no joke. And
okay. But there, what happens if one of these unlicensed vehicles gets in a collision?
Great question. So if they're involved in a collision, luckily the person, if they're involved with a motor vehicle, they are covered by that by their policy, the policy of the other motor vehicle. If they're under the e-bike policy, if they do conform to the legislation, then they're a bicycle and they wouldn't require insurance. Your insurance would cover it. If they are a vehicle that was seen to be not covered by that e-bike legislation, your insurance would still cover it, but the insurance company might sue them.
Okay, so if I get whacked into by one of these people, or even a person going too fast on a sidewalk on a bicycle, I'm kind of they bear no responsibility. It almost seems.
Well, it's no insurance, but it would come into civil liability. Like there would be a civil, you could sue them.
Here's a question by text: is it legal to wear wired earbuds to talk on the phone while driving if you're not holding your phone?
It's funny, we get this question a lot. It's not illegal. In fact, having hearing of any kind isn't a requirement to drive in Ontario. So you are permitted to in Ontario. Other provinces say one ear, not the other. But here you can wear both. It's not the safest option, but it's legal.
Okay, what's going on with questions on TikTok this morning?
Oh, we've had so many things. One person says, "Why do people wear masks while driving alone?" Well, we don't have an answer for that. But
that's not a legal question.
No, it's not. But it's the first thing that popped up when I looked at my list of them. Here's one: can you drive temporarily without a front bumper? And the answer is no. Your bumpers are part of your safety equipment. They are required for you in order to drive on the road, and you could be pulled. Your plates could be pulled for being unsafe at that point.
Okay, so if you had an accident, something went wrong, but the car is still mobile and you want to drive it over to the shop, you can't do that?
Not without safety equipment, because if you were to have another collision on your way there, let's say you hit a pedestrian or you hit another vehicle, all this, the safety absorption, all the safety functions that vehicle was built with are gone. So that vehicle should be not drivable at that point. It should be towed.
I always thought the bumper was to try and mitigate against other damage to the vehicle. I don't know if I get hit by a car. It seems like a bumper is marginal protection for me as the pedestrian.
Well, think about that. It really does change the way that the vehicle dynamics, the chances of having a pedestrian sucked under the car as opposed to sent over the car in the event of a collision, that all changes without the bumper. Additionally, all your sensors for your airbags, that's all going to be built into that, and they may be malfunctioning. They're really designed for one impact, not multiples. Many of them have a plastic outer shell and a foam inner, and it does, again, change the safety on impact. So if I'm investigating at the side of the road, I will suggest that a driver, even in one where the bumper's attached, if it's being connected and the airbags didn't deploy, that airbag could have a latent, what's it called? Activation.
Yeah.
Was lost for words there for a second. Very rare that it happens. But yeah, it could happen later while you're driving. So even if you were in a front-end collision and it didn't deploy, I would often suggest taking a tow truck.
Here's somebody by text message suggesting, well, just duct tape it back on. Is that legal?
If it's technically there, it's not the best option. And if someone were really looking,
legal?
You know what? I would have to have a second look. If I didn't,
okay,
I would say no. If you just duct taped it back on, I'm going to say no, it's not legal. But I'd have to know that it was duct tape. So it depends on how obvious it is.
Yeah.
I guess.
If you get some duct tape that's pretty much the same color as the bumper, it would at least get you to the shop.
Maybe,
Probably.
maybe. But it's
Here's Marlene from Toronto. What's your question for Sean Shapiro?
Hi. I'll try and make this quick. We have a handicapped thing on our car, right? And we've been going to my son's for dinners, and there's a spot there that is handicapped, but the people, a private one for private people, but the person there doesn't use it. Like I think they may have even died, but they don't use it So are we allowed to use it with our handicap thing?
So do you mean on-street parking that has an accessible permit spot right in front of someone's house?
Yes.
So yeah, those are, if it's by sign that says you need to have a permit, it just means that you have to have a permit, not that it's for one particular person, even if it was installed.
Oh, that's great. So we can use that spot.
You can, and you can also park in areas that are no parking. Something that many people don't understand is that no parking zones with a accessible permit, you can park there. It's just the no stopping and no standing zones. But certainly you can use that.
Okay, thank you very much for your call. Here is James from Toronto. Go ahead, James.
Yes, good morning. I have a question. How come the transport trucks and dump trucks are allowed to drive down the middle of the lane on a 3-lane road without passing vehicles, and they're not being ticketed?
Sorry, there's a 3-lane or a 2-lane with a
Like a
center.
highway.
The
It
middle.
happens constantly. For instance, on the 401, I understand that trucks are not supposed to drive in the center lane unless they're passing, but they seem to do it on a regular basis, even when they're not passing vehicles.
Oh, your question is why aren't they required to stay in the right-hand lane?
Absolutely.
Yeah, generally they can't be in the passing lane, but I'm not aware of them not being allowed to be in the center lane in the 3-lane. That being said, it depends on the signage of the highway. It's not across all highways. Each highway will have their own rules, and it's based on sign most often than not.
Yeah, maybe a misunderstanding that they're not supposed to be in the passing lane, but that doesn't mean they have to be restricted to the right-hand lane on a 3-lane situation. And a question here. Are they ever going to crack down on the fake handicap permit?
I'm not aware of. Well, in terms of people applying for them without being qualified for them, if they are providing doctor's notes, unless there's an investigation or a reason to believe that it's fraudulent. I mean, there is a team with our parking enforcement unit that specifically goes after misuse of accessible permits.
All right. Now, a person asks a question about whether, as you're going into a roundabout, is that what you call it, or do you call it something else?
I'll go with roundabout.
Okay, because I thought that was the British term. But if you go into the roundabout, do you have to signal?
When you're going in, you don't have to signal. When you're going out, you should signal because you're advising of your intent. But it's like going through a curve in the road. If you wouldn't signal as the curve takes place, so as you enter a roundabout, it's not necessary. However, when you're exiting, that's when you should be notifying other drivers so they know what you're doing.
I remember many, many years ago when I first got my driver's license and I was driving along and I came to a fairly significant curve in the road and I turned the signal light on.
Hey, caution's great. Letting your brain know what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey, that guy ahead of us has noticed the curve. That's a good thing, huh?
There you go.
Can handicap permit cars park in no parking for weeks? That's a question.
No, not for weeks. 24 hours. They have 24 hours, and that is it. And they can still be ticketed after that.
All right. There is a never-ending stream of these questions, and
it's all
that's
good.
why we keep bringing you back. So I appreciate it. Sean Shapiro, what is your schedule on TikTok?
Generally speaking, it is 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And I used to say it's Monday to Friday, but now I'm on a rotating schedule. So it's 4 days a week, either Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday, depending on when you catch us. We try and post our schedule up on TikTok so people know and can actually add it in their reminders. But we're also simulcasting on LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
At Traffic Services.
At Traffic Services.
Yep. Thanks very much.
Thanks, dear. Take care.
All right, I don't want to get all grim and everything, but do you fear death? Tell you.
Okay, we're back. We're back to the regularly scheduled program with your Q&A questions. That was interesting. We went really off onto talking about all the other stuff. Generally we don't talk about parking stuff, but today it was all about parking. So very cool. And Becky just sent me a message. She's a producer for the show. She says, sends thanks. And thanks, by the way, to you, all of our viewers on TikTok, because for that 10 minutes, we're not focused on you as much as we are normally. So thank you for sharing us with News Talk 1010. Okay, let's see here. Front bumper, any difference for a classic car? If it's a classic car, it's the bumper that it was designed for, or so whatever bumper came with it. But there should be your bumper should be attached, if that's what you're asking. Big Jeff Fresh says 20 years of driving and I still signal at significant curves on the road. I'm Ryan, what do you think? Ryan's a driving instructor. What do you think? For entering roundabouts in Nova Scotia, you got to enter with a signal and exit, or just one way? Okay. And also, do you think that people should signal for turns, curves in the road? Okay. And what's this? Miguel, I don't know. Miguel wants to know, did you ever come to New Brunswick? And if yes, how's the law? I've never been to New Brunswick, but you know what? I want to travel Canada. I've traveled all over the world, but not really in Canada. At least not extensively. I've gone to places in Canada. Let's see here. So the question is about jammers and radar detectors. Now, there's lots of questions that come up on this, and for some reason, I have a block. I never remember the if it's 170 or 240, and both of those numbers bounce around in my noggin. So let me see here. Radar warning. Here we go. It's 170. 170 and 3 demerit points. That was a question from the chat. What's the charge for possession of a jammer? Jammer and radar, it's speed measurement detecting device. Dry motor vehicle with speed measuring warning device. There you go. And you can't sell them. You can't possess them. It's an offense in Ontario. The only thing you can do with them is if you're the manufacturer and you're selling them out of province, you can transport them sealed. That's it. But we also have search and seizure rights as under the Highway Traffic Act. We can, if we suspect that you have it, we can go through your vehicle and search for that. And when we find it, we seize it. So it comes with the charges. It's not fun, not worth having. And yeah, what's up, Q? What's happening?
Nothing. Super Wussy called me out in chat.
Okay. By the way, how is your fluff ball doing?
Pixel's grown.
Really? No longer a fluff ball, more of like a fluff lump? Like what is how big is Pixel now? Pixel is Q's
I'll
new
show
puppy.
you.
Oh, we're gonna see it. We're gonna get an appearance from the pup. That's cool. Neon is back. You got your phone fixed. Awesome. Let's see here. Which I realized actually you said good morning. I'm assuming it was on your phone. I didn't even think twice until you said I'm back. Let's see here. We got more I'm back. We have multiple I'm backs. Can you advertise your business on a personal car? It's a great question. Tassos is an insurance underwriter. He might be able to speak to it to an insurance perspective, because my understanding is if you advertise on your personal vehicle, you may be subject to some additional costs in terms of your insurance policy, because now it's commercial purposes. But legally, as long as you're not obstructing a driver's view, it's a puppy. If you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or LinkedIn, you will be seeing a very cute little puppy named Pixel right now. I don't know. Can dogs see camera screens? That's very cute.
She sees herself, but
She
she's
sees
like,
herself.
I don't know what you're doing with me, mommy. What are you doing?
Confused. I've never been here before. First time on, well, not the first time on the internet. Okay. Can a 120 pound, 4'7" year-old ride in the front seat? So the answer, if you've seen my video a couple days ago, we talked about when can a child ride in the front seat. Well, legally, once they're eligible to be out of a car seat, they can be in any seat, but it's not safe. It's not the best option. So we say stay in the back seat until you're 14 years old. 14 years old is a great time. Skeletal development and so on is at a point where it's safe to be the front. 4'7". So you've met the weight requirement. 4'7" not 4'7". So so to get out of a car seat, it's 4'9", 8 years old, or 80 pounds. So the weight limit is there, but everything else suggests it's not a good idea. There are car seats that will accommodate a child. My 7-year-old is in a 5-point harness, not even a booster seat, because it's the safest thing to do. By the way, shout out to my family who's watching, my 7-year-old included, because she says, Daddy, you have to say hi to me today. And I'm saying hi. Mind you, they haven't said hello. Does that mean they're not watching? I don't know. I don't know if I should be offended or not. Okay. How do I report a cop speeding without lights and siren? Well, you can make a report. However, I can tell you that it's not a requirement to have lights and sirens on for a police officer to exceed the speed limit. There's an exemption under the Highway Traffic Act for police, fire, and ambulance. Lights and sirens often create issues for us. In other words, drivers respond to the lights and sirens, and if we want to get past you instead of create a traffic confusion, we won't use the lights and sirens unless we have a traffic clearing reason to do so. So we're approaching a light, there's someone in front of us that we need to get out of the way because we need to move on. It's generally safer for us, even if we're exceeding the speed limit. Now when we exceed the speed limit, we're not usually traveling Mach 10. We are simply exceeding the speed limit by a reasonable margin. And there's a lot of factors that go into it, but we have to be able to justify everything we do. And our vehicles are tracked. We have GPS in the vehicles. Dispatch knows how fast we're going. Let's see here. I got a G2 today. What's the fastest time I can get a G2? So, sorry, you got a G1 today. What's the fastest time I can get a G2? So the fastest time to get your G2 would be 8 months. It requires you to take an approved driver training program. If you don't take the driver training program, you have to wait 12 months. So fastest would be 8 with that condition. Can you use emergency lights to park wherever you want? Emergency lights aren't usually for parking. But police, in response to a call, emergent situation, we're trying to get somewhere fast to save lives. We'll park wherever we have to, sidewalks, middle of the road. Got to do what you got to do. I mean, obviously we try and get out of the way, but very often we have to respond and stop the vehicle wherever we stop the vehicle. Okay. How many kilometers under the speed limit is considered unsafe? It would have to be a substantial departure from the flow of traffic to be causing an issue. Unnecessary or slow driving means that you're impeding traffic for no reason. But a speed limit does not mean a minimum. A speed limit is the maximum that you can go. So if you're doing 80 and a 100, it's not necessarily illegal. But if you were doing it in the passing lane, it could be an issue. You could get a ticket very easily there. When do you use hazard lights? When you want to communicate that you are a hazard. Pulled over at the side of the road is usually the best place. Okay. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Dory, hey, that's a great suggestion from our moderator, Neon. If you are new to our channel, we do this all the time. We get online and we talk to you about traffic and police stuff. So my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I answer your traffic and police questions. We're your trusted source for traffic and police information on TikTok and all over the internet. And we do it so regularly that you could just tune in and ask your questions. Let's see here. If a car, what is this? If a car passes safely, then goes bad, is it still legal? When you say goes bad, do you mean develops a personality on its own, transforms, and tries to take over the world? Or do you mean, like, what do you mean? Like they spin out and crash after? I don't understand. You need to give me more information. But apparently I'm in a Transformers kind of mood today. Yes. Big Benny. It's a good question, but I really want to understand your question before answering it. And I have a feeling you mean loses control after passing safely. So, yeah. If we assume that that's what you meant, actually I can't even assume what you meant. I need to know more. Okay. Let's see here. Can you get charged? Can you get charged for stunt driving on private property? And as of September 1st, 2021, yes, you can. The rules were changed, and private property, which includes mall parking lots, stadiums, school property, even your own property. If it's not a track designed for the purpose of whatever you're doing, that's my understanding. Is the only exception is for that. So, yeah, don't stunt drive. Big Benny has a follow-up. The safety when you buy a new car. So is this in relation to you passed somebody, then it went bad? I don't know what you mean. I still need to understand the context. I'm trying to piece it together. I want to answer you. Should the elderly be retested for driving abilities? Well, they are. After a certain age, and I believe it's 80, you start getting some level of retest. And as you continue to age, those become more frequent and I think more serious, from a written test to a driving test as you go. I hope to be driving into my 80s.
I'll do the follow-up.
Sure.
So if you buy a car and it's brand new, or not brand new, but like it's secondhand, and it passes safety, or they gave you a safety that was passed, and then afterwards it's gone bad, like the safety, obviously the emissions is no longer legal. What happens?
So you have a certain period of time to take your safety and register your vehicle, at which point the safety is no longer a requirement for registration. So if you have your car and you've registered it in your name, you are good. If you continue to drive your car without registering it, and you only have 6 days to register your vehicle, so there's really no excuse. I know 6 days with a safety. You can, if your vehicle is not yet safety, get a temporary sign. But the safety certificate doesn't remain valid. If your vehicle becomes unsafe, it's based on inspection. So you've registered it, you're driving around, and your muffler falls off or your brakes don't work, you'll be charged for unsafe vehicle. Like, your vehicle has to be safe, and you're responsible for maintaining it in good working order. So if I think we're getting to the root of what you're asking. If your vehicle is no longer safe, you may not drive it, regardless if your certificate is expired or valid. If your vehicle is unsafe, you're responsible. If you cause a collision and it's found to be that it was due to defect and your vehicle was unsafe, you'd be charged in addition to whatever you did while you were driving. So you definitely want to maintain vehicle safety. Yes, Joyce Connor says, I guess the guy must have been cut off from his full question. It's a very short number of characters available on TikTok, so very often we find ourselves trying to decode. But you're absolutely right, Joyce. And by the way, welcome back. It's nice to see you. Joyce is coming in from Facebook. Let's see here. What do you guys think about car meets? Car meets aren't a problem. I'm a motorcycle guy. I used to go to motorcycle meets. We used to hang out in Timmy's and drink coffee and talk about our rides. And I don't think, outside of any regulations or rules specific to COVID, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, as long as the behavior isn't that of breaking the law. So if you get together and then you break the law, that's bad. If you get together and talk about the things that you love and care about and you're not breaking the law, that's good. That's where I feel. Kayla, sorry. How you doing? Got to run for daily 10 a.m. meeting. Take care, everyone. Be safe. Well, cheers. Take care. Good to see you. We have a lot of folks who come in on a regular basis. What are my epaulets for? Sorry, go ahead.
Here's a question in chat. I have a G1, but I have a full license and IDP from another country. Can I drive by myself? But they have a G1 in Ontario.
Your G1 has taken precedence. Your IDP is no longer valid. Your G1 is your only license in the eyes of Ontario, so you have to abide by your rules here. You cannot drive with that international driving permit, and if you weren't given a full license on trade, it means it's not valued at the same level as an Ontario license. So, there's no credit for that. Now, if you would have applied and they would have given you credit, you would have been able to either take certain tests to accelerate if the country you came from gives you credit for that license, or that we give credit for that country's license. Certain countries, like the United States of America, for instance, is a straight trade. You come here, you hand in your Utah license, and you will get an Ontario license. Simple as that. And going back to the epaulets question, my epaulets are for it's the Veteran Epaulet Program. It was a fundraiser. We were allowed to wear these for the month of November. I have my epaulette right here. I bought 2 sets because I want to support them. And the deal is that this is to raise money for veteran services in Toronto. So it's a great initiative. This year is the first time we would do it for breast cancer. We do it for PTSD and mental health. And this one is Safe Driver's got to go. Bye, Safe Driver. Good to see you. We'll see you again soon. But this is a fantastic program, and very proud to be wearing this in support of veterans and active military personnel that are deployed overseas. Actually, the video I did, and please go watch it. I did a video this morning addressing this very topic. We'd love it to go viral. Just saying, Let's see here. Hey, look at that. Our time is basically done. But I want to see if there's anybody else that we can go. Here's a great question. Okay, great question to end the show with. So the question from the chat is, what classifies as stunt driving? And what are the consequences? Well, let's start with the consequences, because I want to give you the laundry list of what qualifies as a stunt driving. And here we go. So first of all, the immediate roadside consequences are this. You lose your vehicle for 30 days. Instantly impounded, you don't get it back. You can get the stuff out of it, but you can't take the vehicle. And you get to pay for that towing and storage. Next, you lose your license for... Wait, did I say... No, I got it backwards. You lose your car for 14 days. You lose your license for 30. My bad. I haven't spoken about this in at least 2 weeks. Maybe not 2 weeks. Anyway, 14 days, you lose your vehicle. Towing and impound charges. 30 days is the new suspension. So you lose your license for 30 days, 1/12 of the year. It's pretty serious. You also have to pay a reinstatement fee to get it back. Additionally, you are charged, and that charge is one that you can choose to pay or take to court. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's straight to court. It's no set fine. Now, the offense, this is the fun stuff. It is a fine of not less than $2,000 and not more than $10,000. So it's a serious offense. And that's on its first conviction, and things can escalate. So let's go into what counts as, it's 6 demerit points, but let's get into what counts as stunt driving. All tires not in contact with the highway, so that would be wheelies. Cause tire to lose traction, so that's burnouts. Spin or circle without control, that's your donuts, or drifting. In oncoming traffic portion of highway, so that would be driving into oncoming traffic. Person in trunk, which I don't really understand. But apparently if you drive with someone in the trunk, it's especially if they're, we won't go down the rabbit hole on that one. But driving with a passenger in the trunk, stunt driving. Driver not in driver's seat, that would cover your ghost riding when people do a little dance and make a video and post it on the internet while they're walking beside the vehicle. That's stunt driving. Prevent passing. Let me go back to the driver not in driver's seat. Not only being walking beside the vehicle, but if you're in a Tesla and you get into the passenger seat, that would also be, even though it's an autopilot, it's not an autonomous vehicle, you're required to be there, so that would be stunt driving. Prevent passing. So if someone's trying to drive past you and you're changing lanes, preventing them from doing so, that would be stunt driving. Stop or slow to interfere with another vehicle. So if you are if you're interfering with another vehicle for the purposes, doesn't say what the purposes are, but if you're doing that, actively messing with somebody, that's stunt. Too close to vehicle, pedestrian objects. So if you're, exactly what it says. Turn left from red light before oncoming traffic. So it's light turns green. You, I used to call it jackrabbit start. You hit the gas and you blast in front, making your turn. That's stunt driving. Most people don't realize that that's stunt driving. And then, of course, there's the speeding ones. So if you do 40 kilometers an hour over the posted limit, that is less than 80 kilometers. So if you do 100 and a 60, that's stunt driving. If you are on a highway or any road that has a speed limit over 80 or over, 50 kilometers and over has to be met. And on any road at 150 kilometers an hour or more. So let's say you're on a highway that has a posted 110 speed limit, 150 would still be against the law. It would still be stunt drive. Well, speeding is against the law, but 150, which is only 40 over on a highway, because of the speed limit being 110, you hit that 150, you are now stunt driving. And that's it. I believe that covers all of them. And I got to sign off. Thank you so much for everyone who's hung out with us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And what else? That's it. Have a wonderful day. And if you don't already subscribe, follow, please do, regardless of the platform you're watching on. We'd love to have you and part of the gang. And then you get notified when we go live, and it helps us out. It lets everyone know just how magical we think we are. Did that come out right?
No, it definitely did not.
It came out exactly the way it was intended. I was making a joke. Okay, have a wonderful day, everybody, and we will see you soon.
Bye, TikTok.
And we wait for the countdown on the TikTok. And I think we're good. Do you hear let's go. There we go. I think we're comfortable there. And we're still live on the YouTube, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Twitch, the LinkedIn. We do the extra 2 minutes here. Let's see here. Sean Chen. Holy moly, we haven't seen Sean in a while. Jeff Fresh wants to know, if you were charged for stunt driving on your private property with your officer, the vehicle would be towed regardless, and your license would be suspended regardless of location. Now the private property is in the game. What if my student parked me too close to a tree and I can't get out, so I drive under idle with my dual brakes? That is a very complex question. In Ontario, you're not in the driver's seat. I think you'd be technically stunt driving, but that's no fun. It has been an absolute pleasure to hang out with you guys today. And we had some great numbers here on the platform. Where was the majority? We've got people in Twitch. We've got people on my personal page. We've got people on the Toronto Police page. And of course, the majority are on YouTube. So it's always great to see where people are coming in to spend time with us. But it is now time for us to go. So we'll be back tomorrow. And tomorrow we're doing two things. We're doing a really cool media launch, and I'll do some advertising for that shortly. But at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Todd from York Regional Police is joining me, and we are going to do a media release for the first time ever right here on Restream on all the platforms. So if you want to ask us questions about the upcoming time change, daylight savings time, and all the safety stuff around it, we're going to be talking about it. So tune in tomorrow, not only for our 9 o'clock, but for our 1 o'clock media release. See ya. See ya, Ryan.
Bye, guys.
Oh, Sean says bye. All right, have a good one, everybody. Take care.